Hey, folks. Check one, two. Hey there. Nice to see you. If you've been following my channel, you've been seeing me coming to this building multiple days in a row for multiple videos. I made a three-part series about an installation. This is the Sogetsu Ikebana School, and there was an incredible installation out here of this beautiful bamboo form, and they deconstructed it and turned it into yet another interesting form. So I'm gonna make another video about it, maybe tomorrow or the next day. But it looks really cool, and I thought I would just start the video here today. Okay, hey there. Check one, two, check one, two. Okay, so here's allows you to kind of start your day a little bit later and whenever you want it, it's more flex. My gig is not flexible, and so everybody gets a little bit of time to themselves to have the house to themselves. My kids get a chance to have the house to themselves when they come home from school, and I get a little time in the morning, and my wife doesn't. So after I heard her say that, I thought maybe on my way to take the kids to school, if I dash back, then she I'm there while she's getting ready in the morning to get out the door. But if I hang back a little bit, just about 30 minutes, then she just has a little bit of time to herself to have the house to herself. And I've just found that this is a little thing that's been a nice tiny little gesture that I can do for her. And in that 30 minutes of time that I can kill, I've wanted to try, to use it constructively, industriously, if possible. And I could bring a computer or I could go to a cafe, but this space has become like a almost like a studio for me. And um I've used it, and here's how I've used it. Now I'm gonna stop and back up a little bit further and say that my YouTube channel is about, I'm not even sure. I'm gonna guess it's 3 years old. And I I came on without really knowing that this vinyl community thing existed. I didn't know anything about it. Really, I just came on because I wanted to make videos about Tokyo and about my life, my music, whatever. And then I kind of discovered this whole universe of people who are like me who want to also share their stuff. And I didn't really come into the world knowing that, thinking or knowing about it and wanting to becoming a part of this vinyl world, people. But eventually that's kind of what happened. But I came on because my jobby job has me online on live streams and hosting online events, and so it's in my wheelhouse to come on and facilitate myself or conversations between others online. So it was a familiar space, and I was, linking, you know, webinar type stuff with YouTube, and I was kind of in this universe already. So, but when I came on to kind of create something for myself, that really comes more out of well, yeah, it comes more out of a like an art, really an artist sensibility. It's funny to call yourself an artist, but I am an artist, and I might be like a life artist or a Lebenskünstler. I heard it once called, where I live my life as best I can as a artful act, I guess. And I know we all do this to a degree, but I'm a photographer, but I'm also a community organizer of sorts, and uh kind of like an encourager of others, I guess. And I'm the oldest of five kids, and it probably comes from being like, and of many, many more cousins. And so it's probably part of my genetic makeup to want to rally the rally the posse together. And also, I don't exactly know where the itch to create stuff, but whether it be writing or photographing or other mediums, music or visual arts, I'm kind of like I like to do it all, and I see it all as an expression. And sometimes I'm just compelled to express. And I like and respect the creative act of expression in all its forms. So YouTube seemed like a fun idea, and I came on, and without really much, I don't think I consumed anybody's YouTube channels in sort of a subscriber kind of way, and I didn't really imagine, to be striving to get subscribers. I didn't understand really the two-way dynamic of YouTube. It was just kind of a crapshoot. I just kind of like was like, oh, let's start a YouTube channel. And then I realized, oh, okay, well, if you start this channel, you can get this many, if you get this many subscribers, then you can get monetized and you can get part of the, Google AdSense money. And I had no idea about what that was or how much it might be, or if it's lucrative, or if it's, it could be a side hustle, or, but I was like, okay, how does it work? Oh, 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, watch time. Okay. That's how do you do that? Okay. That seems maybe achievable. Maybe not. I have no idea. So that was sort of a goal I set for myself. And then I think I tried to start live streaming, and maybe you can only live stream if you have a certain number of followers. I forget how it kind of works. But I remember there were these like little milestones, and it's not so far back that I've forgotten it all. It's just I'm just a little bit of an absent-minded person sometimes. So I don't really recall how long ago or what these exact milestones were. But after a year or so of making videos, and I kept, trying to do the things and trying to like, be consistent and make my videos this long or that long, or post them at this time of day or that time of day, or look up like what's the best way to, hustle this. And, I saw a lot of conflicting things, but eventually I got the number of subscribers required and the number of watch time hours required to get into the AdSense program or the Google partnership or whatever they call it. And so I thought, can I do that? Because I live in Japan and I'm like far away. Like, do I still qualify for this? So I plugged in my information and plugged in my bank information. And sure enough, like I got a check, for $1. Like after a month of, after a year of doing it, I was like, oh, okay, cool, it works. And then the next month it was like $5. And I was like, all right, this kind of works. And then it was like memberships, I was like, oh, what's a membership? Okay, how do you do a membership? That's like Patreon, right? So, okay, well, I keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, and it seems, a few things have stuck, a few things haven't. So let's try this membership thing. So I started this membership thing, and I realized you have to have these tiers, right? And I'm like, okay, so what are my tiers going to be? This is just going to be like, let's have a fun with this and like brainstorm about what a membership thing might look like. And I kind of set the highest tier would be something like where I'm doing like a one-to-one. I'm going to call it like a brainstorming session with somebody. If somebody, and it's kind of in the consulting vein or in the coaching vein. I am not a coach and I am not a consultant, but I am an idea person, and I am a person who likes to help. And I am a people person. And so I thought, well, I can't really, bring like proper business acumen or life coaching, nor do I have any interest to bring that kind of stuff to a conversation. In fact, I need it rather than, offer it. But like a brainstorming session, okay, maybe just to have a second pair of eyeballs on your project, whatever that might be, I can offer that. And I can like, spitball with you, and I can um use all the experience that I've had doing lots of different kinds of creative production and project management and creative direction to help maybe push your idea along a little bit. It seemed like a legit, a semi legit thing to offer somebody at a top tier. for like a $30 a month fee. Is anybody going to pay that? Probably not. But, and then what's the $3 a month tier? Okay, that's like a playlist. You get a playlist, I'll make you a playlist every week or something like that. And I made like all these tiers in between, right? Like, and I think there was 3 or 4 of them. And press start, let's see if we get a member. And, like I didn't really know what those are. I didn't really know if it would work or if it wouldn't or what the implications of it would be. And I didn't even know if like one person would, sign up. And I didn't, I just didn't have any, I didn't think about it like that. I just wanted to, it was a tool that was in the toolbox. And I thought, okay, let's just try it. Let's see what happens when you do it. And sure enough, I got a subscriber or a member. And I was like, oh, groovy. And then I got 2. And then I got 3, and then I was like, "Oh shit! I gotta deliver on those tiers, those promises that I made." And I failed at doing it. And I I tried my best, and then one week I failed, and then the next week I didn't fail, and then I failed again. And I thought, "Oh God, like I really got to be accountable to these people." And but do they care? And it turns out like, oh, maybe some of them do care and some of them don't really care. But I felt like very obliged to follow through on what I promised. And I felt like I would be, a bad, or, it wouldn't be a good look to promise these things and then to not deliver on them. But I understood that people would probably give me a little bit of grace just because I was forthcoming and, pretty out there as best as I could be. And if I didn't follow through on something one week, maybe they'd give me a little period of grace to catch up to it on the next week. I've got a full-time gig and a family, and sure enough, everybody was kind of understanding about it. And hey James, hey Isa. Ohio gozaimasu to you, Isa. Michael, to stream from a computer, you don't need any subscribers, but to stream from a mobile device, you need at least 50. Thanks, Michael Nolan. Appreciate that intel. So yeah, and I think I experimented with streaming a couple of times, and it was kind of hit or miss. I got some things kind of off the ground, and then they kind of dissipated, and join other people's live streams. The live stream is very, very interesting. I got some notes I want to talk about today, but I just want to kind of set this up as like the experiment that it started as. And so eventually, I got a comment on one of my videos that was basically calling me out for like being a grifter or something. It was like some kind of mean comment that was like, what do we get with our membership? Or like, it was, I forget what it was, but it was like some kind of snarky comment about like, you're not delivering on the thing that you said you were going to deliver on or something. It wasn't somebody who was in my members thing, but it was somebody outside of it who was basically trying to, make me, call me out on the, misguidedness of the members thing. Right. So I thought, oh shit. Okay. Now it's not, you know, what am I going to do? How am I really going to pull this together and make it so it's more legit than it is now? And with the help of one of my friend said, why don't you fire up that Discord that you have sitting back somewhere? And I thought, oh, okay, yeah, but will people go on this Discord? I mean, I know Discord, and I use Discord for something else. I use Discord a lot for a little fish universe thing, but I didn't really suspect like people who don't. It's really hard to get people to come to use a new software that they're not familiar with. It's like you got to keep them, to get them off the platform that they are is like a very big ask. And but I thought, okay, I'll fire up the Discord, and everybody who's a member of the YouTube channel can get an access to the Discord. And so I fired up this Discord, and that took a little forethought, and it required, okay, so we're gonna have the area for general conversation. we're going to have this area for like introductions for anybody who comes. They'll be able to introduce themselves, so it's a friendly place and everybody kind of knows everybody. We'll have another place for recent acquisitions. What records did you get? If you care about records, you know, what records did you get recently? Because I think one of the things that we want to do when we get records is we want to, or when we get music, or when we find something cool, a book or some kind of thing that's, you know, that we're inspired by, we want to, you know, show it off like like some kind of, you know, evolutionary kind of thing to appeal to our communities. Look at me, I've got the biggest nut of all of us. And so we made a, you know, a recent acquisitions channel. We made like a now playing. Oh, people want to show off their gear. We made a gear channel, or I made a gear channel. I'm going through a tunnel right now, and it's a little tiny tunnel, but I know that the signal dies for a second. Give me 1 second, and let me just go through this tunnel. And so next thing you know, I have like 5 people on this Discord. And I'm like, okay, look, it's embarrassingly small, but I've got these 5 people on this Discord we got a conversation going on all day. Not just like, you know, once a week, but there's like blips coming in all day. There's little, you know, signals, little messages, little broadcasts that everybody's putting out into this world where I think some of them look at me as, or anybody who like is willing to put their face on screen and, you know, be out there. I think that's something that not all of us can do, you know, with confidence. That we have too much face to put our face out there. I think, you know, those of us who are willing to like fall flat in front of others a little bit more are out here on YouTube, and are willing to kind of fail and flop in front of others, where I think others who don't really, you know, maybe they have like maybe they have like professional reputations that they need to keep up, and they, you know, they can't be on YouTube, or they're not interested, but they love music, but they just don't need to be that out there. And I found that um there is, you know, I saw Dylan of Noble Records mentioned on a stream, I think he published a couple of days ago, where somebody called him out as being an expert on something. He was like, look at this expert, he got hoodwinked on these Black Sabbath acetates or something. And he wasn't, and he was, Dylan had bought something that he thought was something else, and it was something that like a seasoned, you know, record store owner should have known, but he just like he didn't catch it in time, and he bought something that he shouldn't have. And he was bummed about having bought something that wasn't what it was advertised as, and not knowing that quickly enough. But I think he was more upset about being called an expert about something when he never claimed to be an expert about anything. And why am I bringing him up? I've gone off too far on a tangent, but you know, I don't, completely forgot where I was, but I don't claim to be an expert about any of these things, and I don't know what I'm talking. Oh, he was saying that, you know, so many of the people who watch his channel know infinitely more about stuff than he does. They're just not willing to be on screen. They're just not that kind of personality type that needs to be out there. I don't even think Dylan is that kind of personality type, but you know, he's willing to be out there. You know, he's going for it. I'm kind of a very out there person, and I don't definitely am not, you know, steeped in any really topic. I know a lot about a lot of different things, but I'm certainly not an expert about any of them. And so I guess I have, but I do have a compulsion to share, and maybe it has something to do with wanting to be seen, or wanting to be validated, or wanting to fix some childhood trauma or something. I don't know, but I just like to. I don't mind being out there, and so I think for a lot of the people who I've connected with in this member space, they're people who identify with me on some level, but not on the being out there level. So they've allowed me to kind of be maybe a character or something, an avatar to live vicariously through, in a public space. And but privately, we're all on equal, and it's just this one little sort of act of um, yeah, public expositionism that they're not that doesn't really appeal to them, and I totally get that. But at any rate, I started um, attracting kind of like-minded people, I think, who were like, oh, he's like, I like the similar music or different music, but a similar vibe. Or my tastes are very broad, so I think you don't really have to like the same music that I like to be able to connect with me or whatever. Anyway, so I started attracting um, people to this Discord, and I started doing this daily live stream for these members, for these 5, 6, 7, 9, and now I think there's like 25 members. And every day in this 45 minutes to an hour that I have, I do a daily live stream. And I started that basically around the new year, around like January 8th, I think, or January 5th. And today is June 30th, and we're at the halfway mark of the year. So for 180 days, every give myself at least Sundays off, and if necessary, I'll skip a stream, but I'll announce it to my homies on the Discord, and I'll say like, yo, I can't stream today, like not feeling it or whatever. And so yeah, every single day for the last 6 months, I've done a daily live stream, and I've put myself out there, and I've filled dead air with an hour of Tokyo Record Style and an hour of myself. And it's been a very, very, very interesting experiment. And I just wanted to make a 6-month reflection video without really much forethought about it. This isn't something that I was planning. Every day it essentially starts like this. Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna stream today. What am I gonna talk about today? And I have a little notebook, and I might write down a few notes before. I might stop at a stoplight and write down a note or two, and then once the kid gets dropped off at school, it's time to fire up the live stream and riff. And it's been a very, very interesting 6 months. And I've been incredibly productive, or what's the word? Prolific. I've been incredibly prolific with my words, whether or not they've been good or worthwhile or um, substantive is really, for I almost want to say for you to determine, but really it's what it's become is a and the only thing that it really actually could become without like a team of writers and people and you know uh, co-creators is a journal. It's a daily journal. And but it's an interesting journal because it's a public one, and journals aren't generally public. Certainly not while the people who are writing them are alive. So this has been really, really interesting, and I'm gonna find a little place to park, and I'm gonna riff on some of the things that sort of I'm coming to understand. I kind of feel like that it's been hard. It hasn't been easy. It's to come on every day and to fill an hour of dead air with something is a bit exhausting. And also you have to face your own, insecurity a lot. And but on this but it's also worthwhile, and I think, and but the one question I have is, it's like, is this sustainable? Because it's so exhausting. How long can I continue this? And you look at somebody like Howard Stern, and by no means am I comparing myself to Stern. Fills 3 hours of airtime every day for however many decades he's been doing it. Um, and he does it so well, I think. Or, it's up, you know, whether he does or well, it's up to you to decide whether he does or doesn't. But I've just purely for the quantity of broadcasts that he's done, you have to admire how long and consistent he's been at it. But is it really sustainable? I don't suspect. I don't suspect it's sustainable. I think I'm gonna run out of steam at some point, and I will have said everything that I can possibly say, and I will be depleted, and it'll just be gratuitous at some point. But we're not there yet, and um, when it does get to that point, I will still be able to look back at this year or these 6 months of doing this, and it will be something that I created, and it'll be something that will stand on its own. Whether or not, like I said, it's worthwhile, or anybody will go back and find value in it, or I'll find value in it, or my kids will find value in it, is is to be determined. But I will have done it, and again, like, this is what I want to reflect on. I need to find a place where I can park, and I am going a slightly different way than usual. And so let me think about this. Sumimasen. Let me squeeze past you, dude. Okay, so there's a perfect example of like, and you're like, you kind of exhaust yourself, filling dead air time. Let me stop and just read some comments while I'm driving. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Good morning, Gary Harris. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yes, 6 month review. Grasshopper in the house. Thank you for the comment, Grass. It's been a good time for sure. I was glad to share the screen with you at least once during the 6 month. Yes, Gary and I got only twice did I do this, because it's a little bit, you know, Seinfeld talks about in the comedians in cars. I keep referring to Seinfeld like I'm really into Seinfeld or something. But he did the comedians in cars thing. And he did comment about how, like, movement was a very important part of the show. Like, it wouldn't have worked in a studio. The fact that they're driving around adds this dynamism to the act. And I definitely think that moving here in the studio, and of course the acoustics in here are good, and it's the perfect place for like a couple of people to riff on. But the fact that you're moving around makes the internet situation a little dodgy, and for that reason, the few times that I've tried to stream with homies makes it a little bit tricky. And Gary and I had like connectivity issues, and Mark and I had connectivity issues, but still it was fun. So that's one thing that's a little bit tricky. You can't stream with others really, but you can stream by yourself. And even though it's a little choppy, it still works. Okay, let me read another comment. Happy to have you guys here. Um, Please know you are appreciated doing these daily shows plus the videos. Thank you, Grasshopper. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you. It's very encouraging to hear something like that. And even though, you know, you have to be obsessed with your own, you have to be obsessed, which you cannot will. it's comments like that and validation that's very affirming and motivating. So thank you, Grass. Agreed, Grass, and hello from Gary Harris. Hey, Derek, Craig D here. Thanks for your streams and videos, Brian. Canuda. Oh wow, this is a. I got my Canuda Savanta. Canuda Savanta. Thank you. First time I'm seeing this name. Thank you very much for being here. I'm glad to hear that you've watched the videos. I appreciate you being here. Hello, all. You picking people up from the airport is great. On a related note to what you're talking about. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We definitely appreciate you, Brian, says Mark Glassman. Thank you very much. Or rather, picking up travelers from abroad. I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to like, have somebody. It's like the perfect little duo studio. If I could get like a, yeah, comedians and coffees vibe or carpool karaoke vibe, it's a good thing. And people talk about it's reckless and it's dangerous to do this in the car, and I don't completely disagree with you, but I know from riding motorcycles that when you are, and I've been driving since I was freaking, I've been driving motorcycles since I was a little kid, and I've been driving cars since I was, not even didn't even have a driver's license. So, um, but you're in a state of zen a little bit when you're driving. You can't really you're in a state of like, intense concentration. So I don't want to say too much about it, knock on wood. But I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a place where I can park. I want to go over to the shrine. Okay, I have about 30 more minutes left in me. It's Tuesday morning here in Tokyo, and yeah, we had a little bit of an early start today because my kid has some like final project going on. Not some, she has finals going on right now. So she had to be at school a little bit early today. So I have a little bit longer than usual time to stream. And it's the morning commute for everybody. So it's a little tricky. But Issa is a guy who's commenting here in the stream. Issa, thanks for being here. Issa just dropped a new he's one of the YouTube members, but he's more than a member. He's like a friend. He's a local Tokyo person. He's an artist. I've bonded with him on a lot of levels. But he just put out a new and very interesting album, a 30-minute soundscape about water and being. I'm gonna say being. It's not about listening. It's not exactly a passive musical experience, but it's one that I almost wanna say it's less about the music coming to you and more about you coming to the music. Sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it's very cool, and if you go search for Issa on Bandcamp, you'll find a really interesting listening experience, and you'll find other EPs and other stuff of his. He's a very talented recording artist and human, so go check him out. And I'm nearly at the place where I want to be, and then I'm going to riff on my notebook here with you guys. I'll say this about the member. If you want to know about the members thing, I have there's on these daily streams, there's like at the most, I think not, there's been 9 people on like a members only stream, 9 people. And or maybe there's at one time, I think 9 was a few weeks ago, but like there was, I think 13 or 17 and it might have been like 2 of the same people on different devices, or it might have been a glitch, but I think there's 20 some odd of us, and rare, like a handful of them are on the daily live streams, and it's a rotating cast of characters, but it's everybody kind of knows everybody else from Discord or just from being on the stream. And so that's a big difference from streaming like in a public realm where right now there's 16 people, or versus um streaming on this private stream where I might be the only one on the stream. I might not actually be, like, there might be 0 people watching. And it kind of, you feel like you should almost be, super embarrassed by it and give up. But when you consider that it's a daily journal, it's a daily meditation, and it's kind of as much for you as it is for others. And the act of putting yourself out there and expressing yourself is of value to others as much as it is of value to you. It's worthwhile to continue doing it. Okay, so I'm here in the beautiful shrine area. I'm going to stop the car and have some coffee and hang out with you. Let me just show you where I am real quick because it's really nice. Oh, I should probably roll up my windows. Turn the camera around. I'm here in the very beautiful Omiya Hachimangu, and it's a beautiful forest. And there is an incredible shrine down the way. So Omiya Hachimangu. And anyway, I'm just sitting, chilling out here in my car with you guys and giving reflections on what's been like to stream for 6 months straight. So yeah, I'd say like journal entries are messy. So when I make videos, my videos are messy, but um, I try to clean them up a bit. And but the live streams are very messy, and you got to be okay with that. So sometimes you're low energy. Sometimes you come to the table with nothing. Sometimes you got an idea, you got a morsel of an idea, and you want to try to just like peel the layers off the onion. And sometimes it's like, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And it's messy, but that's the nature of keeping a daily journal. So I think if you wanted to try this, and I want to kind of encourage you to try this, to put yourself out there in such a way, and don't necessarily do it for members or for viewers, but do it for yourself. And I think members and followers will just come because like attracts like. And maybe somebody will find value in it. And those who are in your community of people, maybe there's people out there who, like, they don't have the gene to put themselves out there like you do or like I do, but they like to share, and they just are on the same wavelength, and they want to connect with you. And um through your experiences, they want to kind of have a, like, a vicarious experience. So um I would say, as a, like, do it, like, be inspired to do it if it's your jam, because, like, you're creating something. And I always want to encourage people to create something, whether it be music or art or writing or good deeds or, volunteering, or just like anything that is an opportunity for you to get something inside of you out of you, which is very much what this is for me. Creativity for creativity's sake. You don't need permission to do it. You don't need anybody's permission. And there'll be naysayers along the way, and they'll say, you're putting yourself out there. Yeah, I am. You have 9 followers. Um, yeah. And you're not humiliated by the fact that nobody's watching. No. And you're still doing it? Yes. Why? Because I'm creative, and I want to use my life. I want to take the chances that I have and use them. I want to be used up. I want to clear out some of this stuff to make space for new things that'll come right behind it. And I want to I want to, live my life basically as best I can. And so you don't need somebody to tell you that you can or you can't do it. You just do it. And, and then you'll find yourself noticing that, you have a slightly different set of, boundaries that you have that others don't have. And that when somebody says you're doing that and you think that people want to watch, you think that's good, and you realize that you've unlocked something within yourself that they haven't unlocked within themselves yet. Sounds a little bit, maybe big-headed or something, but it's true. And I know this long before I ever started doing this live stream. I've had people, their insecurity about themselves has come out as, aggression against me. And if it hadn't happened enough times, I might not notice it, but it's just happened so many times over years. And this is one of the things that somebody who is constantly putting themselves out there, this is something that they often have to deal with, is other people's insecurity about themselves and their inability to put themselves out like you might be doing because you're, misguided. Read fearless. So, don't ask for permission. You don't need permission. You can create your own permission, and you can inspire others to create their own permission too for themselves. Um, like I said, like attracts like. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that the people who are hanging out in my Discord and who are hanging out on my members thing, they're all fucking dope ass folks. They're all super, super. I guess that suggests I'm a dope ass folk too, but I am. I am a dope ass folk. And the people who are coming to hang out are as well. And I see so much. Unfortunately, I see a lot of insecurity and a lot of I see a lot of people tearing others down out here in YouTube land. I see it every day, all day, every day. Not all day, but I see it on, it's like a matter of beats. There's only so many, and every 8 beats somebody gets torn down, and I really, really don't like it. And whether that person who's getting torn down is like an actual person in our universe or somebody outside the universe or somebody far away whose story you don't even really have any clue about, people tear down others because it builds them up. So I see a lot, and the people who I'm hanging out with in our world, there's none of that. Zero. In fact, everybody who's there, that's almost like the common denominator is that, like, the more weird you are, the more different you are, the more challenge it is for you as a person to accept them as they are for who they are, and get bring yourself to their level rather than to get them to yours. So that's definitely a super, super awesome vibe that we have in our universe, and I'm very grateful for it, and incredibly grateful. Probably one of the things I'm most grateful for is that. Um, Craig in the house. What's up, dude? Cool dude, 1984. Hello, cool dude, 1984. Um, Issa says, appreciate you, Brian, for putting yourself out there and being you. Cheers, man. Bringing worlds together. Yeah, man. Just use yourself up. Whatever you got, throw that spaghetti at the wall. I don't I don't claim to know how to do any of this stuff. I'm just telling you what's worked for me, and I don't intend to do this often, but today is the 6-month anniversary of me doing this, which is a moment to stop and look back and just take stock, and that's what I'm doing right now. Um and I don't ever intend to stop, showing off Tokyo and showing off my city and showing off aspects of myself and facets of my world. And I don't ever intend to get on and have any knowledge about how to do any of this stuff. I saw Casey Neistat. talk about all that thumbnail and the hook in the first 10 seconds, and you know the algorithm and the analytics. Like, I don't pay attention to any of it, and I totally don't pay attention to any of it either. I should, and I probably ought to, but I'm just doing what I want to do. And but I'm motivated by goals, but I'm still just, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I don't know, maybe like some incremental things, and I'll share them. I'll share them from time to time, but I don't ever intend to like claim to know any of this stuff. I'm totally a loose cannon when it comes to what, or just like uh, I'm just winging it. I'm totally winging it. Cheers, Nick. Time moves fast. Yeah, congrats on 6 months. This is just live streaming. I've been in this world for like, I've been live streaming for a long time, but this daily live stream for 6 months has been an interesting experiment. Um, I just shouted out Issa's album. Mark Glassman says your album is beautiful. I listened to it yesterday. It was really, really amazing. Super meditative. Um, Craig in the house. What's up, dude? Grass. No cops to hassle either. I hope not either. I've gotten hassled by the cops a couple of times just by parking in weird places. Grass says, "Are you doing a video of the party you took B to?" Oh, is Issa gonna do a video? I'm still thinking about the Badu meditation. Yeah, I'm a little lost on this one, but we did go to a party. I had a huge weekend. I had a enormous weekend. It was like dancing. It was parties. It was late nights. It was awesome. And hey Nick, hey Mark. Okay, I saw this one saying that the blowing out. I saw this one. It says Gary Harris, that one saying that let's see, blowing out someone else's candle does not make yours shine brighter. That's a good one, man. Blowing out someone else's candle does not make yours shine brighter. No, definitely not. I like that a lot, Gary. That's really beautiful. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's super good vibes. So thank you for this, like these homies that my little world has attracted. They're all, I'm gonna talk to you guys about them. And while I'm thinking about you guys in this moment, I made a new practice this year that I don't think I don't it sounds very morbid and ominous to say, but I don't think I'm gonna be here all that long. I just have this hunch that I'm gonna like, I just don't think I got like 95 years in me. I just don't foresee that. And I don't it's not, I don't know what it is, but I I hope I have a long, great, healthy, super great life. And I'm like, I don't know how I did it either, but, and maybe it'll be like, kind of mind over matter that'll get me a long way. I hope so. But I have a feeling that it'll be like going to sleep, like it'll be almost like the way that I go to sleep every day, which is just a little more, just I got a little bit more in me. I got a little bit, it's just not yet. It's not, and I'm out. That's essentially how I go to sleep every night. I'm like, I crash. And unwilling. Like, I hate sleeping. I wish I could just stay awake all the time. It's such a waste of time, sleep. And I know it's so important, but I've got so much to do, and I've got so much to say and to give and to show, and I just sleep just slows me down. So, um but for that reason, I don't want to like get to the end and be like, "Oh, I didn't do this or I didn't do that or I wish I would have done this more." Of course, everybody's going to have those regrets when they get to the end, but The practice that I started this year, or started not that all that long ago, is that when I think of people in my life, when I think of like random somebodies from my past, I write them immediately. Like if somebody from a different time and a different circle of people, or a family member, or if somebody like pops into my head at a random moment, I just write them and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." And I don't let the moment, I mean, I fail at it daily, but I try to, not let those moments pass, and I try to, like, every single time somebody pops into my mind, I write them, especially if it's, like, somebody who I haven't talked to in a long time. So, I would say, like, and it's things like that that I think edify our communities, and whether they be, like, our immediate communities, like our family and our little friend unit, or they be, our wider circle of friends, or they be like our whole, universe. But, I try to, it's not that it's, maybe you could call it like I'm, people pleasing, or I'm seeking validation or something, but I want to create a feeling for somebody that says, like, they're like, "Oh, wow, that's out of the blue. That's a surprise." I want to, like, create a whole world of those kind of like surprises. So, if somebody if somebody does like a nice little gesture for me, I'll try to like thank them, like, immediately afterwards, and be profuse with my gratitude. But then, like, I'll think about that thankful thing, 3 weeks later, and I'll write them and I'll say, like, "Yo, I'm still, that act is still reverberating. So I just wanted you to know, thank you again." And so, um, take stock as frequently as you can. Um, yeah. Some more homies showing up here. Bryce in the house. What's up, AZ Beltree? Yo, Brian, back in Phoenix, jet lagged as hell. Congrats on 6 months of this daily stream. Cheers, Bryce. Thanks so much. Great to see you hanging out. Very restorative to hang out. I want to say that, like, of the 20 people who are hanging out in the Discord and who are hanging out, in the members thing, it's I've met in person like 7 of them, which is amazing. In Tokyo, like 7 of these motherfuckers have come all the way to Tokyo. Now, okay, fine, put yourself on a bus anywhere, or on a plane anywhere in the world, and even if it's a 3-hour trip, that's a, a big deal. But to put somebody on a plane for like 14 hours to come all the way over here and hang out, it's like really amazing, and like a lot of cash. And so that's just, I think, an indicator of how taut the vibes are. And thanks to all the homies who have been over. Um the greater the contribution, the more we express our individuality. That was something I recently got from skateboarder Rodney Mullen, who said, like, the way that you earn respect in skateboarding community is by basically expressing yourself as best you can. And that might actually be taking somebody else's expression and then remixing it, modifying it, iterating it, and then offering it again to the next. And so, and that is what he was talking about, edifying communities. And so I hope that, like, anything that I'm coming off the dome today, like, if it's gets a gear turning inside you, you put that spinning gear back in the machine and it spins somebody else's gear. So the more you kind of do that, the more water in the harbor floats all the boats, the more gears we're going to get spinning, the more candles we're going to keep lit. Um, something that something that this live stream has taught me, I hope probably gonna repeat myself at a year. If I can make it, if I can do this for another 6 months, probably gonna repeat the exact same things at a year. But um like, every day is a blank page. There's a blank page sitting right in front of me. This live stream is like 2 blank pages of paper that I have to fill up. And, you know the feeling of when you sit at a computer or you sit at a blank paper and you gotta write something that's a page long or 2 pages long. It's almost like, like high school essay trauma, a 5-page essay or something, you know? But what I wanna say is, like, don't be afraid of that. And it's a great opportunity. It's not something that needs to be feared. It's something that should be welcomed and you should be excited about because there's endless possibilities of where you could go. And you might start out with words like, I don't know why feel obliged to write this paper and why I'm just writing words on the piece of paper to fill up space, but I don't really have anything substantive to say. Am I saying that right? Substantial to say. And I'm just sitting here, faking it, filling up paper, and I'm already on the fifth line, but I just keep writing. So, because the assignment here is to just show up and to fill up 2 pages of paper. And that's kind of like filling up this glass of water that's sitting right in front of me. And if I had the entire universe of water in this glass, and the next thing you know, you're like unraveling some thing and you get onto something. And it's only through the act of like starting that you get there. And like Nike's motto, just do it, is really profound. I think just do it is why Nike is still here, because it's not the running that's the hard part. It's the getting out of the bed. It's getting off the sofa. It's deciding to do it. It's not the doing it. Once you're going, you're like, oh, why was it so hard? Why was it so hard to lace up? God, now that I'm out here, I'm so thankful that I'm out here. But it's the just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it part is the hardest part. So don't be afraid of starting, and don't be afraid of like what might come out of you. It might be a flop, but again, like all my favorite artists are the ones who, you know, swing for the fences and, struck out, for a chance to hit a grand slam home run. Ninja Cat Matt in the house. What's up, dude? Michael Jordan changed Nike and shoe companies in general. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Brian and Discord homies. Yornimer in the house. What's up, dude? Hey, Grass. Yeah, Nick Mullen says, or Nick Mullen. Nick Fantasy says, Rodney Mullen, the first truly amazing trick skater. The old Powell VHSs were epic, right? Um, oh, AZ Beltry also says, Gary, hey, I have Ryo Fukui record for you. Nice. Okay, wicked. Yeah, a lot of goodwill floating around this place. A lot of goodwill. Okay, so Grasshopper says, yes, I plan to get there for the upliftment with you. Yeah, I do too, man. I'm planning, I'm planning for you to be here and be uplifted by your vibe too. AZ Beltree, April meetup, great time hanging with Brian and Issa. It would be cool to meet and hang with everyone on Discord. Mark said sharing about music is like sharing a bit of your soul. Yeah, good souls for sure. Yeah, I mean, this has been really profound. Like the way that I've listened to music in the last 2 years, I don't go on Spotify. I don't let algorithms tell me what to listen to. I have only almost exclusively listened to what people have recommended to me. Every time I go to music, I don't go to uh, you know, a magazine to tell me what I should listen to. I don't go online to tell me what I should listen to. I go to TokyoRecordStyle and the people that I photograph and the Discord and the albums that people have put forth. And I'm finding I'm like Neo from the Matrix, where I'm like, they pull the thing out of my head and I'm like, I fucking know kung fu. I can fly a helicopter. I know I've downloaded so much knowledge, musical knowledge just from this little universe of um, just putting myself out there. That's been incredibly inspiring. Um, yeah, and Rodney Mullen again, like he talked about like just the beauty of putting what you have to offer back into the circle, back into the community, and of your put back in the community of your own making. And that's one of the things that I'm super proud of, is that, I mean, I don't want to like take a bow or anything, but the fact that I've like these guys who I hang out with, these guys who have come to Tokyo, these guys who are in the Discord, they know so much more about music than I do. They know infinitely more. I'm like the most Luddite of us all. And but I'm not intimidated by it, because these guys are all very, and gals are all very kind and friendly people, and it's not about like, you don't know that, how could you not know that? It's none of that. It's totally, that is completely absent from this circle of homies. And that's really cool. Happy National Camera Day, January 29th, USA. Oh, happy National Camera Day, Mazzy. Nice, dude. Oh man, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man. So a few more things here I've written in my little notebook here. Um, so like I said, don't be afraid of the blank page. And oh no, Japan was eliminated from the World Cup today. I didn't even see that yet. That's a bummer. Thanks for sharing that, Yornimer. What they who did they play? Sweden? Did they tie with Sweden or something? Or no? Oh, it was Brazil. It was Brazil. Hey Mazzy, first time I've seen you here. Mazzy pops in from time to time. Mazzy and I we've done a live stream or two together. In fact, Mazzy, I found Mazzy's book. Mazzy, you'll have to remind me the title, but I found his book in Japanese, and my Japanese is okay, but I can't read it. I can't read his book in Japanese. And Mazzy and I had a really wonderful stream, um, a few, maybe 6 months or a year ago, where we kind of went page by page through his book, which I don't think anybody's done with him before. And he explained it, and it was a very kind of interesting way to look at his book, because despite there not being any English on any of the pages, every page, we went through like literally page by page. And it was a great chance for people to actually see his book, which I don't know if he's talked about on his channel or not. But it was, yeah, Beatles in English, published by Sony in Japan. And this year, 2026, is this 60th anniversary of both the Beatles at Budokan and the Beatles at Candlestick Park, the last Beatles show. That summer they played Tokyo, and they played that they had an American tour. Am I right here? It was like the Candlestick is the last show, right? And um there was a photographer who photographed, his name is Shinpei Asai, Asai, who's very accomplished photographer. He did this amazing series of the Beatles when they came here, and he's done a lot of stuff since. But he hasn't become as huge as a lot of other people. But his photos are the definitive photos of the Beatles in Tokyo in '66, and he made a beautiful book called Hello Goodbye. And for the 60th anniversary, it's getting republished, and uh they're going to have an exhibition that's coming up, and there's actually a whole bunch of Beatley kind of things happening in Tokyo this year because of that. And because Mazzy had done essentially for because not because, but in the same spirit of me showing off Mazzy's book page by page, somebody that Mazzy has worked closely with, a gal named Amelia. If you didn't, he made a great video of this interview with the archivist of Jim Marshall's estate. And if you don't know Jim Marshall, happy camera day to Jim Marshall, rest in peace. He was also a photographer who photographed Candlestick 66. And he did a lot of other amazing work, and you definitely know his photos. If you don't think you do, you definitely do. But the fact that he had a backstage pass at Candlestick made me think I'm American. Jim Marshall's American. Asai, and I'm going to get a chance to meet Asai-san, and I'm going to get a chance to chat with him about that book and the republishing of that book. And boy, I want a copy so bad. I want a copy of both the books so bad. So I wrote to Amelia, and she hooked me up with a book. She gave me a digital copy of the book, which I was very, very stoked about. I'd like to get a physical copy of the book, but the digital one is okay. I don't know if it'll, I wish I need to order it, but it won't. I've already given up on it. It's not going to come in time. I don't think. I need it by July 7th. If somebody wants to FedEx me a Jim Marshall book, a 2-day delivery, send me one over, but don't. I'm joking. But yeah, thanks for being here, Mazzy. But doing a daily live stream, anybody who's putting out videos on a, I mean, I put out videos. I have to say, I know people put out videos. I'm fuck hustling like a motherfucker. I'm putting out as many videos as I possibly can. I'm putting out live streams as I possibly can. I do a live stream every fucking day. I have a family. I have a job. I'm working my fucking ass off to do this, not because I'm fishing for, a validation, but because I like to do it. But you got to show up and do it. And it's like schoolwork or work. It's like work. So I would say, like, there's a whole lot of people out there um, who talk about, like the YouTube game is all about like consistency. And yeah, it's true. But if you're gonna make a circle of homies, and you gotta show up. You gotta be dependable, and you gotta show up. And some days I really don't want to live stream. I really don't want to do it. And I know these guys, they don't even want me to live stream because they're like, I don't want to watch him another day. Like if he goes on and he doesn't have anybody watch him, I'll feel bad, you know? So I gotta watch him. Like one of us has to watch him. But you do have to show up, I think. And I would think for it to stick, for the spaghetti to stick. I don't work my ass off. I just talk music. Yeah. I'm gonna Mazzy's also fucking retired. So, that's coming from somebody who's, got a full day open to do whatever he wants. Um I need to fucking be getting back to my job here. Um I want Well, to that, Mazzy says here, I don't work my ass off. I just talk about music. I would say I've tried a couple of times on these live streams. I've been like so panicked that I haven't been able to like deliver the goods to the audience, that I like go to chat or go to AI and say like, write me a 5 topics and topical subjects that I can riff on today. And it spits me out a thing, and it's never compelling. There's never anything compelling on those lists. So I would say just be yourself, warts and all, and don't worry about it being super polished. It's a journal. It's a daily journal. And like I said, journals are messy. And so release yourself of the obligation of like making it polished. And like I said, I'm literally just pulling away from the sky bridge, and we're barely even taxiing yet. Whether or not the plane ever takes off, we'll see. But I'm still the running around the runway, the tarmac. Everyone is different. I like to tell and share stories. Yeah, everyone's different. Okay. Yes, talk about what you know and don't rely on chat GPT. Um, I think I've just talked about almost all of this. Um, Numbers don't really matter, I don't think. And in fact, I think they actually hurt you in a way. It's sort of like every record that you add to your shelf, you diminish the value of all the other records in a way, because it's rash it's um ratio it's what's it's like your love is split across more records, and your time is split across more records. So every time you add another record to the collection, it's, you devalue the. Oh, Mazzy, I beg you, dude, if you're gonna hang around, like, be on the level, and don't walk away from this being like, Brian is pontificating about the thing and doing the thing and being the snarky dude, and don't be that way, please. I know you're joking, and probably my sense of humor has evolved over the while, but it's all about, I'm trying to put good vibes out there, and this is like, yeah, pray to Jesus and he will show you the direction. That's not what I'm doing here, man. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do anything. I'm just trying to say, if you're on the fence about doing something, or I'm not claiming to know the way to do things. I'm just saying that this is the way that I've done it and this is the way that it works for me. And it's this kind of thing that I think, I know it's tongue in cheek and I know it's like your sense of humor, but I really think that it's like little tiny cuts like this. It it it's not what I want around our it's not what I mean, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Um okay. So I'm going to get going here, but I can already feel like what's going to happen is, mark my words, this will happen. I'm putting myself out here in like a good vibey kind of way, trying to explain like what has worked for me, and if the reflections on streaming at 6 months, and now it's going to come back on one of these live streams, and somebody's going to say, Brian was trying to tell everybody what to do and how to do it and the way that it works, and like some kind of prophet, like he knows what it's up. I never said I knew what was up. I never said claimed to do any of this stuff. I'm just reflecting on my own things. Mark my words, this will happen. And that is why I think, like, really the numbers again like don't really matter, because in fact this little universe that we've made online, it's become so precious. And hold on, let me turn the camera on just so you can see this. It's really cool. It's really precious, and I almost like want to, like, I don't know how to keep it precious. I don't know how to make it so it never stops being, and I'm worried that I just kind of if I just keep sort of growing it and doing my best to like sort of cultivate it, it's going to attract, like, it's going to, like, every record that I add to the collection, it's going to be slightly less special. So that's that's a few of the things that I've taken away from this live streaming act. It's been a very interesting creative act, and that's 180 hours, if not more. I mean, this stream went on for an hour and a half. And so 180 hours, that's like 5 straight days of nonstop live stream in a 6 month time. It's pretty prolific. And yeah, there's something just in the act of creating. And if you're somebody who's like a creative person, and or if maybe you don't even consider yourself a creative person, but I don't know, I'm really transfixed by creativity and the act of like even like kids making babies, like the whole like on a growing flowers, and like uh you know replicating, propagating. I'm really it's an amazing, it's an amazing function of life. And when you can do it on a kind of intellectual level, or not that I'm claiming to be intellectual, but like if you can do it like with your mind and with your imagination, then it's part of the reason I love being in the city, is because like everywhere you look, there's somebody has dreamed up all of this shit. And there's been creative decisions that have been made in every single everywhere you look. If you're out in nature and you're living out in the countryside, you can experience it in a different kind of way. But in the city, you really get attuned to it, and especially a city like this where the most tiny detail gets like almost the same amount of attention that the big picture does. And the last thing I kind of want to say is that when you do it every day for a long time and you look in your rear view mirror and you have 180 hours of videos in a 6 month time of your own thought process of your own things, like nobody can. You're on a mountain of um of creation. You're standing on top of a giant mountain of perspective, and like nothing anybody can say or do can take that away. Kobe Bryant said that, or somebody was talking about Kobe, and they were saying that when they go travel, when two teams go travel, the visiting team will get a gymnasium to practice at, and sometimes they have to share the gymnasiums, and this team will get it for these hours, and this team will get it for these hours. And there was an opponent of the Lakers, I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about how one of the players showed up at like 6 a.m. and like Kobe was there practicing like before he arrived. And then he left to go have breakfast. And after he came back from breakfast, he came and Kobe was there. And then he went, in the afternoon break, and he practiced for 5 hours. And then he went away and came back later, and Kobe was still there. And whether Kobe had come or gone, every time he showed up, Kobe was there. And Kobe was asked about this interview on a talk show or something. And he said something about like, once you put in the hours, like there's no amount of catch up. There's no amount of catching up. There's no amount of, waking up early that'll ever get you caught up to me, he said. And I don't think he said it in a way that like he was competing against anybody but himself. I don't think it was about like putting in more time than his opponent. It was just putting in more time than he, like a different version of himself, could. And so, yeah, I'm looking back at 6 months of live streaming, and it's been a very interesting experience. I intend to stream for another 6 months at least. And who knows what's going to go after that, but it's been fun, and it's been worthwhile. It's been hard, and it's been enlightening, and um, meaningful, and at times emotional, and it's been cool. It's been really cool. And if you're ever thinking about doing such a thing, it's just purely for your own your own act of putting yourself out, creating something, being artful, being expressive. I encourage you to try it. I'd do it again. It's hard though, but I'd do it again. Thank you to everybody who's hung out on the live streams. It is a thing. If you want to like do the members thing, we do this every day except Sundays and whenever I can't muster it up the energy. But if you want to come and like crack open some chestnuts, peel some onion layers, talk about music, riff on anything, then this is essentially what we're doing. Not for everybody. I get it. Perhaps those who like action. But all right. Have a good one, folks. I'll see you out there and on the tubes. Tokyo Record Style. Give me a follow, give me a like, all that stuff. Peace.